And today on the Tacomaholic channel, we'll be going over the very best cover you can get for your HiLift jack, and the cover made by HiLift jack is not the father. I mean, is not the best cover you can get. Welcome back to the Tacomaholic channel, where we feed your addiction for everything related to Tacomas. So if this is your first time stopping by, go ahead and subscribe now. This is my HiLift jack. There are of course many like it, but this one is mine. Alright guys, I'm sure plenty of you have HiLift jacks mounted somewhere on your Tacoma. It is certainly a useful tool in an emergency off-road to help change your tire on uneven terrain. So obviously you want to take care of it, specifically the mechanical pieces down here at the end, or the head, or the foot, or whatever you want to call it, that is actually going to lift your truck into the air so you can actually get to the tire and change it out and do whatever you need to do. I did do a video linked right up here going over some basic routine maintenance you need to do to this area, so check that out to keep your HiLift jack running smooth as possible, because I have seen a bunch of these fail off-road probably 3 times now because those people were not doing what I mentioned in that video. And of course today we are going to go over what I think is the best cover to put on the mechanical parts of your HiLift jack to keep it as protected as possible from the lovely elements. And of course here is the cover made by HiLift, which I did purchase and I ran for a little while until I found what I think is a far superior alternative, which I will compare and contrast with the HiLift brand cover in just a moment. And here are the two side by side. We've got the genuine HiLift brand cover on the left. The cover on the right is made by, when I bought mine, I've had mine for about 2 years now. It was jackcovers.com. Now I believe it's Step 22 or Step22gear.com. I'll look when I get home online and put a link down in the description. And I'll also put links where, of course, you can get both of these if you decide you want to go with this route, because this is about half or a third the price of this one, because as usually is the case, when you have something that's better made, it's going to cost a little bit more. But stick around and I'll go over why it is worth the price. Now, as you can see, the one I have from Step 22 Gear is roughly the same size as the HiLift one when I set them right over there. They do make a longer one of these, which I'll go over a little later in the video. And a few general form features to compare with the two covers. You can see they go right over the base of the HiLift jack in the same manner. They both have a zipper on the top, which you sort of wrap the entire cover around the HiLift jack and attach it that way. Both of them have an opening on the end, obviously, so the actual base or foot can actually stick out, so the mechanical parts are covered. First thing that's obviously better, the jack covers one, you can see right here, has a drain hole on the bottom, which is certainly nice because, of course, water and stuff can get in here. If it does, it can drain out right here on the bottom of the corner, which is where the hook is going to grab. So it's not pooled in there causing rust or any kinds of issues. The HiLift jack one does not. Alright, the first and probably the most important thing to compare about these two is the material they are made from. HiLift here on the left, 100% I believe pure neoprene, which means it's basically a scuba diver's wetsuit.
Are you guys full scuba?
Which, if you did not know, is not UV resistant. So this may be fine for a few months, but it'll eventually start to wear away. And while that might not be an issue covering some other parts because of all the angles on the actual HiLift part where you're going to be covering using this, those will press into the worn away neoprene and slowly wear away, exposing a hole which of course the elements can get in on. The Step 22 Gear cover on the right is made out of a neoprene and PEEK interior layer with an exterior
Come on, you can do it.
With the exterior layer being marine grade vinyl. Certainly will help water exposure and UV exposure. And while I mentioned that, this is 100% UV resistant. In addition to the UV resistance, it has gone through mildew and antimicrobial treatments. So again, if anything gets stuck in here, it's not going to start getting funky and growing into anything else, because if that gets out of hand, your HiLift jack might just walk away of its own volition. No such treatments on the HiLift jack model. I've only seen the HiLift ones offered in the black neoprene. The ones from Step 22 Gear have multiple colors, probably 8 or 9. I went with the black. It's sort of like a carbon fiber-ish texture. Hopefully that'll come up on camera. But obviously from, a foot or two away, it just looks like black leather. But again, multiple color choices available on this one. Now I have seen a full HiLift jack cover, not just the head like this one that literally covers the entire HiLift jack and the entire thing zips in, which might be great, and that is not made of neoprene. I think it's some kind of canvas. However, since it's all sealed, it's really only useful if you are not mounting your HiLift jack to your truck somewhere, since you won't be able to attach it with bolts or anything to your bed rails. That's something if you're just gonna literally throw it in the bed the day of a wheeling trip and it has a handle, you can walk around with it like that. In case you are interested in that one, I'll put a link in the description below. The zipper plastic is also 100% marine grade, so heavy duty, not gonna rust and corrode on you. Go ahead and unzip that. And again, I've had this on my truck probably for about 2 years now. Never cleaned the inside. You can see there's a little dirt and stuff, but drain hole is certainly doing its function. And first off, since you know the Step 22 one has a drain hole right here on the bottom of like the cone part, obviously you want to orient that, makes sense to me, so it's facing downward. Other jack covers, obviously you could do it any way you want. So here is how I have my HiLift jack mounted on my truck. I've got it on the outside of my bed rack. I've got the mounting brackets. They have a stud coming out right here and right here. Since it's on the outside of my bed rack, I'm not dependent on like how long my bed is, so it'll just barely fit in there. So I have a lot of freedom with this, so really I could use any cover I want, because even if you can see right here the way I have it mounted on the stud, I like to get it as close as the cab as possible. I could probably go forward another circle or two. Since it's nowhere close to hitting back here, I could just move it forward. But if you're mounting this to your bed rails, then it's really a fixed point where your HiLift jack is gonna come into, obviously wherever it mounts. If that's too close for the longer 15-inch cover, obviously you can't mount it that way. So the shorter cover might be best for you. But again, the shorter cover is perfectly fine. It's keeping all of this completely protected. If you have room, the 15-inch cover might be a better option just because it gives you a little more protection out here. And now the part I'm sure most of you are most interested about, we are going to compare the pricing. Depending on where you buy it, the HiLift jack cover is going to be $16 to $30. Currently on Amazon it's 16 bucks. So I'll put a link for that in the description below if you're interested in grabbing that. Obviously the Step 22 one is going to be a little more expensive, coming in at $45, so either 2 to 3 times more expensive than the HiLift brand. But again, if you're going to have to replace the HiLift one every year since it becomes weathered and starts getting holes and worn and all that, you can quickly see why it's probably a better choice to go with this one, since this is going to last for years and years and years. Forever. As I mentioned before, I've had mine on for over 2 years now. It is doing great. All you really have to do is just wipe the exterior. I like to use like spray on some 303 protectant or something like that, just to help keep stuff from sticking to it, really just to make it look pretty, because it's not, I don't have like any weather marks at all on it, just slight stains from dirt and stuff like that. And of course this is the black one. If you get a different color, those might not even show up as much. All right, everybody, that is it for the HiLift jack comparison and why I think the one from Step 22 Gear is the far superior choice. Go ahead and comment below, let me know what you thought of the video and which HiLift jack cover you think is best for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. As always, thank you so much for supporting the channel by watching this video. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video.